Hi everyone! Welcome back if you've been here before. If not, hello, welcome, happy to have you. This video will be a little less scripted and a little more freeform. I wanted to test out different scripting options to see what flows best with me. The first section of this video, I'll discuss my usual positives and negatives of the piece, and then I'll go into the story time. The timestamps are below if you want to skip ahead. I made this channel to document my art journey while connecting with others, so leave me a comment below. I love reading them. Ask me absolutely whatever you'd like. Okay, so let's get started with the negatives of the piece, because I think it's better to end on a positive note. So, ironically, one of my negatives is the gradient in the flower. So, what had happened is I failed to blend the colors together when they were wet, so I ended up layering the pinkish red over the green, and it ended up looking a little muddy, and it also ended up, I don't know, I was not good at doing the small gradients. It just didn't fade as well as I wanted to. So that was a learning experience. The next thing was time. It took like 2 hours for this painting, and I'm not used to doing long paintings. I don't necessarily like doing long paintings, and I don't like to take breaks on paintings, so I like to get them done in like an hour and a half or less. And some paintings will obviously take longer just because of the detail required, but here I just felt like I could have done it maybe a better way. It just seemed like it was taking unnecessarily long, and I was getting frustrated. Another thing is I've been fearful to use like really saturated colors. Like I always dilute them a bunch with water and end up having to layer them like 1,000 times to get what I want. So I tried to combat this by using a little bit more saturation, which made like the skull super dark. So I'm not a fan of how dark the skull is, but you know, for the first time trying it, it's okay. I'll figure it out. And because time was an issue and it was literally like 2 o'clock in the morning, I like just didn't put any finishing details on the crystals, which bothers me now, but like I was super done with it at the time. Positives, gonna end on that positive note. I didn't use any liners, so I like the look of liners in a painting, but I wanted to push myself to do something like totally outside of my comfort zone. Liners give me like a super easy and distinct way of what areas need to be colored and staying within the lines, and it's a little bit more forgiving in like shapeliness, because I can do the liner first and then just color it in, and I don't have to worry about like that outside line looking real jagged and crazy with like the paint. But this time I decided not to do that. I wanted to practice a little bit of lining with my brushes. I got some new like more finer detail brushes and wanted to practice a little bit more with like tight lining and smaller areas to see if that's something that I want to be able to do in the future. Another positive is I did like the gradients that I ended up putting in the skull, so it's kind of a wash there. I like the texture in the skull despite the darkness. I think if it was lighter, then it would look like even better. And I got to try out my brand new shimmer paints, which was exciting. So, story time. I am a self-proclaimed jack of all trades and basically a master of none. I bounce around through quite a few things, both art and not art related. So yeah, I have exposure to a lot of different skills and a lot of different methods, but I feel like because I'm spread so thin that often there's not like one shining ability that I have, so to speak. So I definitely enjoy learning, and that is like, I guess, part of a good thing and part of the problem, because I'm always trying like different things because I think it's fun. but I can also be trying new things because I am not progressing fast enough at whatever current thing I'm trying to learn, and I abandon that to go for, an easier thing. I guess like a fun fact, maybe it's surprising, I don't know, you guys don't know that much about me, but I have primarily I have a technology background supported by some design background. So in middle school is when I started teaching myself some web development stuff. So like languages to develop for the web, just like on the front end, like CSS and HTML and stuff. What really inspired that was making a fan site for Neopets. I was very passionate about Neopets for a long time, and it also helped me garner those skills for technology and web development. So I'm honestly not complaining. I learned how to design a website from scratch. I learned how to host it and have people go to the URL and visit it and click through the pages. I learned some PHP in there too. Just because I was so passionate to have this external fan site for Neopets. When I got to high school, I decided I wanted to try a more compiled type language, less focused on web, just to see how I'd like it. So I learned Java through virtual school, which was stressful because at the time I was taking like a bunch of other like AP advanced placement classes. So I didn't get the AP credit for the computer science online course, but I did just get a standard credit. That still taught me like half of Java, so it was fine, and I did enjoy it, and that's what helped motivate me to choose computer science as my major. So they had a web design major, but I was teetering with game design or web design or all this stuff, and I'm like, you know what, like if you do computer science, you can basically do whatever tech thing you want, especially if I plan to incorporate some type of design skill into like my portfolio with that as well. So you get to learn all the dry data structures and algorithms and stuff, and you can apply that to whatever secondary interest you want. So I chose to major in computer science. And I also chose to minor in web design because I still wanted to have that creative outlet. Computer science is extraordinarily dry. And we didn't really do anything that had to do with front-end interfaces until maybe my senior year. So it was a lot of, very technical stuff going on. So in the college I went to, you have to take so much math for computer science that if you take 2 more classes, you get a minor. So I took 2 more classes and also got a math minor because why not? And I have an unnatural desire to acquire all the achievements and accolades I can possibly have to my name. So that's what I graduated with, and ended up now in a current job doing some user interface and user experience stuff. So I fell into that because I did have that design background, more or less, when like formally trained in graphics or Photoshop or Illustrator, or like any of that stuff. But I was doing so much in my personal time, both with my Etsy shop and my personal projects, that I've kind of just built up that knowledge on my own and had such a good rapport with the current UI UX guy at my work that I not only get to implement some of the screens that are designed, that I also now get to design them too. So super exciting stuff. Primarily a front-end developer right now. Eventually I want to do full stack stuff, which is exciting because really all my interests have always been about like balancing that technology aspect and that creativity aspect. And full stack is a lot. It really quite literally often meets the requirement of jack of all trades, master of none, but it's something that's always interested me. So it's looking back, or kind of like a small retrospect, I guess it is interesting how I have balanced it more or less. So, like, I have my Etsy shop, and I'll do physical paintings and stuff, but I also do vector graphics for my decals that requires me to use Illustrator. I made the website for my shop. I made the related branding graphics. I made anything that had to do with theming and images, my business card. So I've really been able to dip both into like the technology and the creative side with my Etsy shop, which is nice because I get to go and try a bunch of different things that sometimes not everyone has that skill set for when they decide they want to sell something on Etsy. So it gives me an opportunity to try stuff on my own instead of having to ask for help or hire somebody else. Even with this art journey alone, with being more active with showing you guys my art and sharing experiences that I've gone through, I still have to photo edit. I still have to video edit. I still have to do some little effects and stuff. It all falls under like that creative technical umbrella. So everything right now that I'm doing, I think really suits me, and it's going to be interesting to see how it grows over time. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my little jack of all trades spiel. So if you guys have any similar experiences with your skill sets, anything that you want to know more about mine, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to answer it for you. And hope you guys enjoy my new end screen. Spent a little bit of time on it, very fancy stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay different.